Shalom from Jerusalem once again. This is Luden Centeno, and these are the latest news coming out of Jerusalem, Israel. As you know, the so-called Palestinians will go before the United Nations in September, and they will ask the United Nations to recognize so-called Palestine as a nation within a nation. As you may already know, as I've been telling you all along, that Abu Mazen has not recognized or will not recognize Israel as a nation or as a people. Many of you may know by my reporting to you also that these so-called Palestinians are making a so-called agreement with so-called Hamas. Hamas continues to rain down rockets on the Negev area, Ashkelon, Sderot, and as far as Beersheba. So how can the so-called Palestinians go in front of the UN Security Council and ask them to be recognized as a so-called nation? First of all, I say to you that you, my friends that are out there, I'm asking you to go to your leaders in your nations and tell them to vote against the so-called UN resolution that the so-called Palestinians will try and pass. As I speak to you now, the current news coming out is that now that the so-called Palestinians and so-called Arabs here in Israel are celebrating Ramadan, they're saying that every Friday they need to do a Antifada, an uprising against the Israeli government. Now, let's look at the logic here. If I were to claim or go to the United Nations and ask the United Nations to recognize me as a nation, why would I tell my people to do an Antifada or do an uprising against the nation that you want to be recognized as a so-called Palestinian nation? By no means I would do that. But they will use any means to get their point across, and they will do the uprising, do the Antifada. They will try and hurt Jews and try to maybe kill Jews. Who knows? But yesterday at the Kotel, Palestinians, so-called Palestinians, went and vandalized many of the autos, of the cars of the Jews that were fasting at the Kotel, at the Western Wall. Now, Abu Mazen is a known supporter on terrorism, and we know that, and all you have to do is Google his name, Mahmoud Abbas, on Google, and see what he stands for. He does not stand for the nation of Israel. Abu Mazen can care less about Israel as a nation. Many videos have come out, and he wants Jerusalem to be the capital of the so-called Palestinian people. As you know, we have tried many times to sit down and negotiate a so-called peace agreement, but the quartet right now, Germany, France, the European Union and America, they have a so-called shelf agreement, and Judea and Samaria are up on the negotiating table. So I'm asking you to please pressure your government leaders to vote against the so-called resolution of the United Nations, because so-called Palestine, which were not even mentioned on either Resolution 181 or Resolution 242 of the United Nations resolution, they were not even mentioned as a people. So they're trying to hide behind the mask that we, Israel, are not allowing them to do anything. That is absolutely not true. Many Arabs have IDs here. They go to work. They live. Many of them actually live even better than most Jews here in Israel. 44.9% of Jews living just in Jerusalem are living under the poverty level. I can't say that there's poverty in the so-called Arab territories. I can't say that. They live well. Anyway, the current news is that Assad has been called out by the U.S. administration, telling him that it is time for him to go. And Hezbollah in Lebanon, backed by Iran, has said that the oil, the gas fields that were found in the off the coast of Israel, they will try and retake these gas reserves from the Israeli government. The Israeli government or the military has already set some drones to go and fly in that part of the ocean to make sure that Hezbollah does not come and attack or try and blow up the gas reserves there in the coast of the Mediterranean here in Israel. So please, we need your support. Please support us. You can give to us via PayPal to Judah, JUDAH92@gmail.com, or you can call me directly to Israel, 972-635-7088. We need your support. We need to raise the maximum 5,000 shekels, the minimum 3,000 shekels. So please, these are the latest news coming out of Jerusalem, Israel. Please give via PayPal to Judah, JUDAH92@gmail.com, JUDAH@gmail.com. Shalom from Jerusalem.